Well, thanks everyone for coming tonight. I think the fact that there's so many people here points to the fact that Insite actually does matter. And it matters because what we do as a country around drug policy matters to all of us. But in my opinion, it's not that Insite is strictly a policy issue, nor is it really a legal issue, nor is it really a health issue. I believe that this is an issue of us coming to terms with our collective humanity. We all suffer from being human, whether we're shy or loud, whether we're smokers, whether we're terrified of intimacy, whether we suffer from low self-esteem or we struggle to find a place in the world by defining ourselves as being someone other than someone else, or as a success, whatever that means. We're all under this curse of limitations that we are better off embracing. From my perspective, people who use substances that have deemed to be illicit to get by in their humanness, to cope with their set of struggles, should not be seen as different or blamed. They, like all of us, are part of us because we all suffer. Humanity shines when we come together around what we share in common. And what I have come to believe is we have many things in common with each other. We all need love, we all want respect, and we all deserve to be treated with dignity. Simply put, this is why the PHS has been fighting and advocating for people who have been criminalized as a result of their addictions, doing our small part in this incredibly complex social crisis. Insite is just one tiny place, a tiny speck on a vast continent, and yet it symbolizes a lot. It sends a message that if you are someone who uses drugs to get by in your life, that your life still in fact matters. It doesn't celebrate addiction, it respects people who live with addiction. It doesn't encourage people to gravitate to experimenting with drugs. It says that if you are living a life where your circumstances have led you to this place, your life still matters. What we have said to people as a society up until very recently is exactly the opposite. You only matter if you're clean, and if you're not, it's okay for you to get numerous infections, be estranged from your friends and family, be thrown into jail, and to die. This isn't good enough. The people, the they, that we're talking about are all of us. We're part of a human family, and when one part of that family is hurting, we're all hurting. Why Insite matters is because it shines a light on the different way of moving forward collectively, by embracing each member of our society, however broken and marginalized, and seeing each of us, in each of us, goodness, value, and worth. These fights take place often in a climate of hatred and a climate of fear. Creating Insite, working together to get where we are today, has been a long battle with an incredible amount of people coming together. When the PHS, along with the two brave drug users, Shelley and Dean, first filed the court case against the federal government, it was not because we wanted to, it was because we had no option. It was a last-ditch attempt to save the site. It was clear to us then that no exemption was going to be forthcoming. The research has poured out of the site at an amazing rate, and we know it works. For the 8 years now, the benefits have been obvious to our community, and walking down Hastings Street compared to in the 90s is a really different experience. I sincerely believe that if we can humanize the rights of the people in our community, if we can have respect, each of us, for ourselves and for each other, our collective humanity can rise to the top. By embracing our flaws and our strengths, and together I still believe that we can win. Insite has become a symbol of hope across Canada because it speaks to a value of social inclusion as much as it does to policy reform. It speaks to our values as a society. We have just lost an election to a conservative majority government who believe that they have the right to make some people's lives matter more than others. Those who are wealthy, those who don't need assistance. But for those of us who might need to be on disability, or people who don't come from families that can afford to support them, people who are gay, people who live lives that others can't or refuse to accept. And at the end of the day, for all of us, we win when we open our hearts, when we refuse to allow people to be marginalized, and we put our foot down and say that social exclusion on any level is just wrong. We need Insite, because Insite needs to exist for all of us. Thanks very much.